back, that's really what Paro also. That when you look back and Paro says, Vai, he looked at the hard times, that now he wistfully looks back and says he realizes there was something special about those moments when he struggled with Hakadosh Baruch Hu as well. Okay, so that's kind of, we'll come back to Shira for another piece later on, but let's start again, the Parasha. V'hi Beshalach, yes?
One footnote. About 50 years ago, I believe it was John Cage, a famous composer at the time, wrote a piece that was, it had a title that was something like 6 minutes and 17 seconds or whatever it was. The pianist would go up, bow to the audience, sit down with time on his watch, a certain amount of time, then go, bow, and leave, and people would applaud. It was a certain designated amount of time, silence, and that's exactly the point you were making. It's a very famous piece.
Right. I didn't know that. Thank you. Okay. V'hi B'Shalach, I'll do this quickly. I think I want to talk about this from a different angle. V'hi B'Shalach Paro said, Elokim derech has plishtim. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu Dafka took them in a way that they couldn't go back. Basically, it's burning the bridges. Burning the bridges. This way you can't go back. And there's always an interesting question that is debated, which is when a person needs to move forward and break some bad habits. So, is the best way to go cold turkey, just simply break with that past, or is the best to go kind of slowly along the way and wean yourself off it? And you find really that HaKadosh Baruch Hu seemed to choose both paths. In last week's parsha, he tells Moshe to tell Paro, we want to leave derech shleishes yom. We want to go for 3 days. What was this 3-day thing? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu understood that for Bnei Yisrael to make that total break with Mitzrayim and the Egyptian culture and everything else wasn't plausible. It was given like a transition period, a slow step process. And here, however, the pasuk says no. Hashem's making a total break. That's it. You're not going to be able to find your way back. It's a total break. So obviously, both elements.
But the 3 days never happened.
Oh, they were the first 3 days.
Right, they never happened. Correct, but that's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to do. Right? That's right. That's what Hashem wanted to do.
Yeah, but
Paro didn't let.
Moshe never told Paro that the Bnei Yisrael were leaving for more than 3 days. He always asked for 3 days.
Right, correct. But I'm saying, but that was Plan A, right? There was legitimacy to that kind of plan.
But is it possible that, certainly Hashem knew that was never going to happen anyway, but he's really saying that that's not the way to do it.
No, because if Hashem advocated that means there was a way. It's a little complicated. Once Paro said no, Hashem had to go to Plan B, so to speak. But hold on, that's a different conversation, all right? But it's a good question. Okay, so anyway, it would seem that if Hashem was advocating both, that means there's an element of a proper approach in both of them, and we can understand the advantage, the disadvantage of going cold turkey is what? What's the disadvantage of going cold turkey?
It's all or nothing.
It's all or nothing, and it's easier to fail. It's a shock to the system. It's much more difficult, and if you fail and you try it again, you fail. By the third time, you say, "I'm not falling on my face again," right? You give up. Certainly, going slower is a lot easier, right? But what's the disadvantage of going slow?
Yeah, you always have an excuse.
That's much shorter path to roll back than if you go further.
So there's 2 pieces of it. One is it's easier to roll back. It's much easier to roll back because you're still connected to it. And it's also, you never get to the end game necessarily because you keep telling yourself, I'm in the process. I'm on the journey. So you keep extending it because I'm doing it.
It's a mind
right.
game.
You keep extending, but you never get to the goal because no, I'm in the process. I'm on the journey, and you never get there. So the danger of the slow process is that you never get there, and you could also slide back. The danger of the cold turkey is that it's very abrupt and very difficult to do, and then you only fail so many times. So the obvious answer is that there's an element of both that have to be incorporated, which means that you have to start sometimes slowly to wean yourself off, but at one point you have to say, I'm prepared to make a cold turkey. You can't say, I'm going to go on this endless process. At one point you say, okay, enough, making a break.
That's the only way it works. It's
right?
Cold turkey.
What?
The only way it works eventually.
Right, exactly. So you may have to start off, but then there's a cold turkey that's necessary, and that's really what's going on over here. The problem was in Bnei Yisrael's mind. The reason why Bnei Yisrael kept backsliding in the desert is because in their minds, they never made that total break with Mitzrayim. Because, oh, we should go back, we want to go back. Because they never made that mental total break. They didn't create that line in the sand, so to speak, and that's why they keep backsliding. But that's certainly the lesson. Let's talk about the mun for a few moments, and then one more thing. The mun. Okay, so the mun, we know it's a fantastic food. It was a food that tasted anything you wanted to taste like. It was dietetic. You didn't gain an ounce of weight from it. It was delivered to your doorstep. And everything you could possibly want in the food. And yet the Jews complained. Right? Nah, we don't want this food, right? How could they complain about, if you could ask somebody, design a food for you, what would be the best way to say, well, I want to be dietetic, but totally, and nutritious, but delicious. Normally, there's a trade-off. It's either dietetic and it tastes like rice cakes, which is basically the same thing as eating cardboard, for practical matter, right? Or you get something tasty, but it's not dietetic, right? There's a trade-off. Here, you had everything. You could taste anything you want to taste like. Didn't involve any cooking. It was perfect, right? So why would they complain?
Because they loved kvetch.
They love to kvetch. That is a national pastime. There's an element of
Especially
truth.
for Jews.
It's an element of truth, but it's a little. Imagine if a guy, his whole life, he dreams he'll make enough money to buy himself his dream car, this red Corvette convertible. All right, that's all. And he finally, after years and years of work, that's it. He buys it, drives it out of the what do you call it? The shop, the what? The dealership. Yeah. Right, and he's going to his home. He's never been to his home before. He had somebody buy him a home. He's now going to show off this beautiful car, his new home. And as he drives down his block for the first time, every house has a red Corvette convertible. How do you think he feels about his red convertible now? Is he happy? No. It doesn't make sense. You still have your red convertible. What do you worry about everybody else having it? All of a sudden, it doesn't do anything for him.
That's interesting.
Right?
See, I thought it was something else. I thought it was, if you love steak, you have steak every single day.
That's another. Okay, that's another dip. That's another. Yeah. Okay. That's another dip too. But certainly the fact that everyone had the mun took away from his specialness. It shouldn't be that way. It should not be that way. And in fact, the Ramban learns that's the mitzvah haftar kamecha. The mitzvah the Ramban learns the mitzvah haftar kamecha. Love your fellows, love yourself. He says it's not possible. You can't love somebody like you love yourself, but you could want for somebody else what you'd want for yourself. Meaning, if you're building your dream house, 11 bedrooms and 4-car garage and whatever else goes into that house, you don't mind if your friend also builds a dream house as long as it's only 10 bedrooms, right? But after kamecha is you should want for him what you want for yourself. That's a huge challenge. You should want for him what you want for yourself. And so that it's human nature, but you are right also. There's something called tainik to me, the aided tainik. Pleasure again and again, the same pleasure ultimately doesn't become pleasurable. That's certainly another explanation as well. But I want to talk about the mun from a different angle. That is, we know the mun can taste like anything you want it to taste like, right? So that's really nice. It's kind of clever. But that's what like showing off. Like, hey guys, look what I could do, right? Baskin Robbins, 35 flavors, whatever it is, whatever how many flavors it is, right? Like, right? Well, what's the deal? Why is the Kadosh Baruch Hu? It's like he's trying to spoil us. What's the message here? He's really giving us a tremendous message. Especially the Bnei Yisrael leaving Mitzrayim. This is the Dar Deya. This is the nation that's being developing from its embryonic stage to be Klal Yisrael. And he wants to share with them a really important lesson. We mentioned the word steak before. If I say the words sizzling steak, how about you? My mouth already started watering. Right? My stomach started grumbling a little bit. Right? The food dictated literally a reaction, biological as well. But certainly we know food dictates our moods, takes reactions, right? Hashem wanted to teach them. It shouldn't be that way. Food shouldn't dictate to you. You should and you can dictate the food. You can even dictate its taste, so to speak. That you should be sholet. You should rule over food. Food should not rule over you. And we live in a world where everybody struggles on diets. It's always about who's ruling who. That's what it's all about. And Hashem was trying to teach us with food, which is the most constant pleasure that we're physical pleasure that we're icing in. There's no greater pleasure we're involved in almost all day. What's your relation to that food? Dictate to the food. That's really the lesson behind that. And let's go to one last thing. We'll stop here, and that is the. It's two things. I'll mention one thing. I know I've mentioned this in the past, but it's well worth repeating, and that is We know the famous Chazal that when Bnei Yisrael sang, when the Malachim wanted to sing Shira at the Yam, Hashem stopped them, said, "Stop, no singing, not the right time. My Siyad Toim Bayam Batam Shira, my creation are drowning the sea. Now's not the time to sing Hashem's praise." Everyone knows that. And the famous question is, Hashem didn't interrupt Bnei Yisrael. They also sang Shira. Why didn't Hashem interrupt them? If Hashem says, Malachim, you can't sing Hashem's praise now, don't sing my praise now, people are drowning. So, if that's true, why didn't that hold true for the Jews as well? So Ram Kotler says like this. He says, why are Malachim singing Hashem's praise? Not for themselves, but for Hashem. That's their job, to raise the level of everyone's awareness of Hashem's glory. They're singing for Hashem. Hashem says, don't sing for me now. That's not the time. Why Bnei Yisrael singing? Not for Hashem, for themselves. Because they need to really internalize the Hakaras Tov, the gratitude they're supposed to feel at this moment. That's something else. You're doing it for me, now's not the time. You're doing it because you need for yourself to be able to express thank you so you become a good person, and being Makar Tov. That's a different angle. That's a whole different angle. That's one explanation. I don't just think of it, yeah.
But did they have to bring in the fact that what happened to the Egyptians? They could have just said, "God, thank you for freeing us and taking us out."
No, but it's true. But it's also yeah, it's true.
It's pretty.
This is a big event. No.
And now that vanquishing the enemy is part of the
they
event.
stacked up like straws and they drowned
Right. What they were pointing out, by the way, was the exquisite onesh that was literally meted out perfectly for each individual, and they marveled at that too. And they were seeing it from not a gleeful perspective of, I'm happy life is lost, but I'm marveling at the exquisite din that Hakadosh Baruch Hu is so precise, and everything is accounted for, and everything they thought would be, was for naught, was really Hashem. Everything was planned from beginning to end. But it wasn't because it was all part of that Hakaras Tov to mark what Hakadosh Baruch Hu can do. But the other answer, which is a beautiful and very important answer, is that a malach, we know, can't multitask by definition. The definition of malach is it can only do one thing at a time. And so if it's singing God's praise, it can no longer at the same time feel the pain for the Egyptian. But the human being is capable of carrying on simultaneous emotions, opposite emotions at the same time. And so it's not a stira that we can sing Hashem's praise and feel pain at the same time. I don't know if it's happened to you, but it's happened to me in my life more than once, unfortunately, where I attended a funeral in the morning and I had to drive right to a wedding right afterwards. So I have to have a heavy heart and still dance in front of the Chas and Kala. And that's really something that's challenging, but Hashem says we're capable of carrying, and the proof is we have to love Hashem and fear Hashem at the same time. Those are opposite emotions, right? And yet we're capable and we're responsible to be able to do that. So that idea that the Malachim had to be stopped didn't prevent the Jews from singing, because it wasn't a stira, it wasn't a contradiction. They could sing Hashem's praise and feel the pain simultaneously. The last thing we'll end with is at the end of the parsha. Let me get the posuk of here. So when they were doing battle against Amalek, it says Vahaya Kashari Moshe Yodav V'Gav Yisrael Kashariach Yodav V'Gav Amalek. It was a big problem. When Moshe ran and lifted up his hands, Bnei Yisrael looked heavenward. They were victorious. He put his hands down. They looked downwards. They weren't victorious. So what did they do? So they his hands were heavy, and they put a stone underneath his hands, so his hands would be in this position, that upwards position. Okay. I want to talk about Amunah, faith, for a minute. So, Amunah is a misunderstood word because often we translate it as faith, which is really a Christian concept. It's not really a Jewish concept. When we say Ani Mamin be'Amunah Shlema, I believe with perfect faith. Is a person capable of believing with perfect faith? There's certainly questions. Well, how do you understand that? The concept of perfect faith. The truth of the matter is, emunah doesn't mean faith. Emunah means, well, look at this word here, the pasuk. The pasuk says, "Vayihi yadav emunah." That Moshe Rabbeinu's hands were faith. That makes no sense, right? Right? Now, the English does a job of saying, "And he remained with his hands in faithful prayer." So the English adds the word prayer to the word faith. It doesn't say that. It says Vayi Yadav Amunah. So the English translates Vayi Yadav Amunah, right? Amunah, and it was right. Look at page 392. All right? And faithful prayer. And that's certainly based on Mefarshim that learned that, and his faithful prayer. Otherwise, what does it mean hands with faith? But if we understand that emunah doesn't mean faith, it means faithful, that means something else. Faithful is not something that's relegated to the mind. Other religions, faith is all in mind. I believe. That's it. Being faithful is how you conduct yourself. Having faith is in the mind. Being faithful is how you conduct yourself. So, a person decides, I'm going to marry this woman. And I'm 95% sure she's the right one for me. That's pretty good number, 95%. Yeah? 95% is very good. Are you only to be 95% faithful to her? You'll be 100% faithful, even if you have 5% of doubt. Having faith and being faithful are not the same thing. I could have faith 95% she's the right one, but I could be, and I should be, 100% faithful. So a Jew can have 95% faith and have some doubts, but he's required to be faithful, to conduct himself in a steadfast manner. Vayi yadav emunah means his hands were steady. They were in this fixed position. That's what emunah means, in a steady, fixed position. So in life, it's important to know that we can have questions.
But it was,
and have faith.
it's not, I mean, because they held his hands.
No, well, the stones,
I mean,
the stones.
No.
He put his hands on the stone, and that's why it remains in a fixed position.
Oh,
I
I thought they held his
I
hand.
thought they held his hands too.
Oh, yeah.
Vayichu ev vayisimu tachta, vayesh v'alev.
Heaven, that's.
All right,
No, he put under the rock.
So they took
Right.
a stone and put it under him,
Yeah.
right.
and he sat on it. And
Well, it's a singular stone.
Okay, yeah,
It's
okay.
a singular stone, which means it
All
can't
right,
be
okay.
from both
Actually, the
hands.
truth is, I take it back. It could be understood that way also. But either way, they're supporting his hands and in a steadfast position, right? Whatever case,
Yeah.
either way you learn it, okay? But the bottom line is, it's a steadfast position, right? So emunah means steadfast and faithful, and that's really the lesson in life, that a person could have questions, and still that doesn't stop him from acting faithfully. There's a story. We'll end with a story. In the late 1800s, so the Chassam Sofer lived at a time what we call the Bible critics. There were people secularists that were trying to undermine the validity of the Torah, and one of them asked his son, who became later on a prodigy, the Chassam Sofer, who was a genius, a young boy at the time, a certain question on Chumash, which stumped him and seemed to show that there was an inconsistency in the Torah, so therefore it couldn't be written by God. The son was very perplexed by it, very bothered by it, disturbed, and he ran to his father, the Chassam Sofer, and he asked him a question. Repeat the question. The Chassam said, what, come back in 3 days. He comes back in 3 days, and he gives him an answer. The answer is a brilliant answer. It shows not only is it not inconsistent, just the opposite. It dovetails perfectly. It shows incredible brilliance. So the son is beaming from ear to ear. He can't wait to run to this professor. But he says, Dad, you got to admit, it was a heck of a question. Unbelievable. He says, why do you say that? He said, well, it took you 3 days to come up with this answer. He said, no, I had the answer right away. He says, well, why don't you tell me the answer right away? He said, because I want to teach you a question. That sometimes you have to learn how to live with a question as well. You have to learn with a question. It's okay. You have to live with a question. You could be faithful even if you have a question on your faith. And so that's really what emunah means. Animam b'emunah shleima means we conduct ourselves with complete faith. In many religions, it's all about what's in your head, and that's it, right? But Yiddishkeit is really about the actions and acting in a faithful manner. Just like a relationship with a person, with a wife, with a spouse, it's acting faithfully that creates a relationship, that forges a relationship, and cements the relationship. And that's what emunah really means, and that's what we're talking about over here. We'll stop here, right?
so, thank you.
There's that 3 days again.
Huh?
There's that 3 days again.